All right, cyber traders, welcome on back here this Thursday, February 11th, shortly after 2:30 p.m. Eastern time. Welcome on back here for our afternoon meeting. I want to go through this rather quick. We have a nice runner here on the BRQS. Let's get a quick sound check just to begin. Make sure everyone can hear me loud and clear. Should be good to go across the board, though. Great to see Michael, Leda, loud and clear from both of them. I assume the same should be said with everybody else. Ron. All right, cool. So I'll just start right ahead, folks. We have the Dow pretty choppy here heading into the mid to late afternoon, but nonetheless, the BRQS running up beautifully. It goes to show. And I say this actually because although a lot of us may think this to begin like, hey, a small cap stock like BRQS normally doesn't matter what the market does as to why this would move up or down. It's not like this is a big player within the market. But I need to say that at times because I see a lot of chat from some folks in the trading room just saying, hey, the SPY's going up, but why is this not going up? Or, vice versa at times. So that's the first thing. But, on this BRQS trade, we've seen this stock from last week ended up making a big move and then dumped back down over this week and then exploded. So I'm going to jump to Benzinga Pro really quickly. The news came out from earlier this afternoon. Looks like LM Funding America earlier reported in a 13D filing an 8.5% stake. So I'm just going to copy and paste this across the board first on social media, just in case if you didn't hear me there. I'm just going to show it. There we go for all of us live inside the trading room, like Kathy and Lori and Debbie, the ladies of the trading room. There you go. So for the BRQS trade heading into the afternoon, I mean, it already popped and dropped from 3. So you would assume that anyway, the first breakout from 3. It held it at first. Whoops. I don't know what the hell that is. Ended up holding this at first and then broke, higher at first, but from there failed. At least it goes to show that we had a lot of buying interest off the breakout. So if, and hopefully if this does break over 3 again, we could see this run higher, make a beautiful run higher into the close. So easy enough for us to just, put the BRQS trade on our main watch list. It's a nice trade so far, not just because it's up big, but look at the liquidity, the spread. If you've been following me here during this afternoon meeting, every day or some days throughout the week, that's what I'm all about. So this is a perfect trade. It's cheap. You can trade a lot of shares if you're very confident on the setup. So for right now, definitely a great start by just putting this on our watch list, finding this right away. All right, so alongside that, of course, I got to go right to Riot, right to Mara, some of the blockchain stocks. Riot's up big today. Oops, just type that. There we go. Up 22+%. And I'll tell you, for all of us on social media, feel free to join us live Monday to Friday. I'll say it right off the bat inside our cyber group trading room. For all of us live inside the room right now, try and bear with me. I'm going to try and upload my picture of Bitcoin. I ended up taking a quick picture, trying to upload it right now inside the live trading room. So as I do that, as you can see at least, the Riot trade ended up making a big move once again after 9:30. Ended up breaking out pretty much right away from the market open. Little chop at first, but took off, as you could see, from 41 up towards just about 46. Now, let me ask, for all of us here live inside the trading room, maybe for some of us on social media that follow me here during this meeting, I've spoken about this in the past. What's particular about 45? What's so special about the number $45 on Riot? We'll say just about 45. We'll go back on the chart. But does anybody know why 45 would be a significant, number or price to watch? Give me a quick second. I apologize for the delay for all of us live inside the trading room. There you go. Not an all-time high, but I'll count it as like a really strong high from the last time Bitcoin ended up making a nice run up towards like 19K back in 2017. Right over here. I said 45, 46. I was off by 99 cents there. But nonetheless, here today, broke higher from 46, little, false move up, went up to a high of 46.64. But, it's very good to see at least. And we're, I think, just getting started on Bitcoin. So does that mean that Riot's going to go up to 100 or whatever the hell it could be? No, not necessarily that much. Don't directly correlate it. But the fact that Bitcoin's pushing up as much as it is, and if that's in the beginning of its bull cycle, then there could be a lot more room to go long term on this Riot trade. Not necessarily immediately here today or end of this week or whatever, but for right now, it's actually holding a lower high right off 45 pretty nicely. So it's still very volatile, great day trade to watch if you're more of like a level 4 to 5 trader inside our room. Personally, although I don't mind trading a stock with the spread that Riot has at times, it's just the price, it's the combo. So I'd rather trade like an $8 or $10 or $12 stock that has this type of liquidity, like the BPTH from yesterday. We ended up doing pretty well on that trade at least. All right, so the Riot, and then from there the Mara. The Mara I'd probably be, Still right around that same price. It was a little bit cheaper. Pretty much making the same move, though. Other blockchain-related stocks, at least from earlier today, that made a push as Bitcoin popped the FTFT. This one ended up dumping off pretty sharply, as you could see, going into the mid to late morning really fast. You could just note, like, once the volume here, the buying, or maybe you would say like short covering perhaps died off, from there, this ended up beginning to just squeeze right back down. Yeah, FTFT and then BTBT, pretty much making that same move. All right, so what we'll do, folks, is go from top to bottom. We had the RCMT trade. That was more from pre-market. That one dumped off pretty shortly after the open. We ended up catching that for a small bounce at first. At least afterwards, it ended up dumping off. So you could see at least after the market opened up for a stock up as much as the RCMT, ended up popping actually right away. But I swear to you, every time it happens, this is something that I'll toss the G word around, guarantee. I guarantee you, for a stock up as much as RCMT going into the market open, it's going to dump off. And if it were to pop right out of the gate, it's going to dump off. So, I hope nobody got bid on this trade. Ended up dropping all the way back down. I mean, I ended up catching a little bit of a bounce here. I took some small losses. I thought it was going to bounce at first from, where was it, 830. Roughly around 8 to 8:30, I had a line here. I ended up wasting a profit at first. Only clipped like 10 or 12 cents, I think it was at the time. I was up like 50 or 60, but then broke lower. I stayed away from it. Then dropped down to my next support level off like 725, 730. I took a couple small losses there, then squeezed a nice trade up towards just about 8. Moved pretty much back up towards my line off 830 here, actually. I think I kissed it pretty much right here. That's there, 830. Anyway, drop back down, and as you can see, filling the gap on the daily chart heading into the afternoon, probably the post-market, probably tomorrow morning. I say probably because we see it all the time, so don't try and hope and hold for a stock like this, folks, because, I mean, now at this point, if you did already, you already know the hard way, but I say that to anybody that hasn't done that just yet. You look to see a stock like the BR or RCMT. You look to see a stock like the BPTH. All of these, like, small cap top percent gainers, they typically make the percent losers list the next day. Ron, that is an exceptional segue. I had that right in mind. I was just about to jump to it. And Ron, I look in the chat board to my left here, and it's my other monitor. I see Ron typing, Tilray lost half its value from yesterday. That was top percent gainer, right? So took the call out right from you there. So yes, Tilray, I mean, couldn't be a better example of that. Now, I think it was just the pot sector altogether that like crumbled. It wasn't just Tilray. I think it was like everything. MJ pot sector ETF down 22+%. What's the news? I didn't really even see anything. I ask you folks because I'm asking myself here. I'm going to jump on Benzinga Pro, see if there's any news on Tilray. Whole bunch of stuff here. Jeez. The hell happened? Sell-off following the sector's recent surge, which was driven by high retail investor interest in speculative trading. What is it, the Reddit traders again? They're pumping and dumping. I thought it was going to be more of like a strong like move up over time. Greg saying Benzinga Squawk also stated an analyst reiteration of a $0 price target in 2022. Greg, is that serious? I don't know. It might just be profit taking. I see another blurb here from Benzinga Pro saying cannabis stock short sellers have $4.3 billion in losses so far in 2021. Greg says, yeah, but I don't get it if they're merging with APHA. That's right. Well, they are merging with them very shortly. I thought it was like even coming up next week. I thought it was like midway through February they're doing that, making that official. But yeah, I mean, either way, nonetheless, though, just to talk more about the pot sector, for as much as they went up, they came right back down. And funny enough, Tilray actually is shortable for all of us on TradeStation, at least. Let's just check in with some of the others. It's pretty crazy to see this drop off. Man, IFA hard to borrow, making a pretty similar move. Not as volatile, at least. Kronos, this is always hard to borrow. Drop back down. What else we got? SNDL is a cheapie. This one doesn't move as strong with the pot sector. It's been kind of doing its own thing over the last like 2-3 weeks, but yeah, making the same type of move now, at least, as you could see. All right, so with that in mind, perhaps I'll keep TLRY on our main watch list, kind of slip it on there for right now. Maybe check in with the pot stocks at the end. All right, so what we'll do, aside from the RCMT, I ended up kind of going off course there for a moment. We'll just go from top to bottom now, see what else we got. The SOS trade, wow, good timing, pushing up beautifully over 6, already held over 6, as you can see there a bit on the chart, and trying to make that push back up to its high where it got halted from, right here. So really quick, I want to answer this question, actually. I got a little time right now. So I had a question from one of our members live inside our trading room, Terry. He was asking, and it was in relation to another stock, which perhaps I'll jump to in a moment. I'm going to write it down right now, Terry, the CLBS. But he was just saying, in terms of a halt, seeing it just, halt on one bar like that off volatility, how does one trade that or not look to trade it? Well, I mean, if you're uncomfortable trading a stock like this, it's just easy to say, hey, just stay away from something like that, right? And especially if the liquidity is very thin on the book. So, otherwise, outside of just, saying that, just stay away. I mean, listen, if you want to test yourself and challenge yourself and learn really why a stock is moving like this and how you could look to get in and out, trade small shares. I mean, Fausto says it all the time. He's not going to run for president anytime soon. But I would guess that his campaign slogan would be one share, right? So, he would say one share, right? So that's what I would do. Trade very small share count, one share, maybe a couple more if you'd want, but that's at your discretion. But otherwise, set your stops, use limit orders on a trade like this. As much as it moved up, well, it got halted. Can't keep expecting it to go up forever. So even when it reopens up, I'd be very quick to sell. And obviously, as you can see, it ended up just dropping down immediately. Sometimes you'll happen to see it shake down, then pop right back up, and then probably false break and then crumble apart. This was a really ugly shake back down, this SOS at least here. That is up until now. Pushing back up pretty nicely for the meantime here. So you have a 16,000 share order on the ask at 625. That seems to be a pretty strong level. All right, cool. So at least for the meantime, I'll give this a second look. Normally for a stock that pumps up once, dumps back down, it doesn't really make a second big move up higher into the close. So this might be that exception here coming up, building a Fausto flag under that 625. The BRQS already on our list. We started the meeting off with this. Just want to check in, kind of dump back down pretty sharply. Hopefully that wasn't the end of the run off 3. All right, let's see what else we got. Got a bunch of crap here, probably low volume or washed up or, very thin volume on the book. Not the CTRM. This might be washed up at least, but ended up making a really good move from this morning. One of our students, Cliff, kept calling this out to me in the chat room and to all of us at least too. I mean, it was public. He was saying CTRM off 160. And I mean, that was the setup I was personally watching going into the market open. It was like one of like a couple. So it took a while. But once it broke that 160, it paid off so handsomely. It was a really good trade. I ended up leaving a lot of money on the table as it peaked up towards 195. I didn't get back in after I got out. I was scaling out right around 168 to 175 here, or 176 off the top. At least for right now, I guess you could say trying to make a little move back up. But, I just said before, the rule is after a stock runs up, dumps back down, it normally doesn't make a second big, fantastic move up into the close. So, yeah, for the meantime, I'm just going to pass. All right, cool. Just kind of skim through here. It looks like a little spike here on this IFMK off 216. Ooh, this thing is spiking up actually really hard right now. The hell happened here? We just catch this at the perfect time or something? What the hell's going on? I literally just turned to this stock and it's just exploding from 210. I don't know if I have the magic touch today or what. Just jump right to Benzinga Pro, see if there's more news coming out on this IFMK. The news from at least yesterday or, oh no, not even yesterday. There's no news on this stock right now. Got news back from January 12th, over a month ago. I don't know what the hell's happening right here. We'll come back to it. I'm not too sold on putting this on our main list. Just interesting timing, at least. Definitely jump back to it, though. Put this on our side list. It's at 57. lost my spot. This thing jumped up so much. All right, back to Micro Vision here, MVIS. I call it Mavis. Ended up popping in pre-market, trying to get a little second squeeze up right now, I guess it looks like. The INPX, this was a really good trade from this morning. I mean, as soon as the market opened, it took off. It wasn't really one that was on our radar in the pre-market or going into the morning, but as soon as it opened, man, took off, popped up on our Benzinga radar pretty quickly as it broke new highs. So we jumped on this actually pretty early, off 180 at least, and squeezed up beautifully up towards high of like 289. Volume really died off, and you could see that a couple of occasions. So, you know, right up here, going into 10:30, 11 o'clock, I would already assume this would be, you know, done. That's it. But ended up popping up once more, making a higher high. But the same thing happened here, and this one I think just killed it. So yeah, for right now, the INPX really flat. This is like a well-known pump and dump from us back in, you know, a couple years ago inside the trading room. All right, GNMK. Not much going on, at least there. Got the can stock. This was a really good mover from the end of last week, and then ended up making a big move up again this week. So, and today, obviously. So popped up towards the high here, up towards 1050. There's a couple of orders on the ask off 1058, 1065. There's even 1068 there. So there's a stack pretty much right off the highs, off 65 and 68. That's what we got to focus on. But otherwise, really good liquidity on the book. Easy to see orders. You know, good trend. Moderately priced. Sold. All right, perfect. You got the QTT here. Familiar name. I think it was pretty flat. Yeah. Right. Still holding under 45. Looks like kind of teasing that breakout over 45 bucks. I don't know if it just popped it here. Looks like it. You know my deal in the afternoon with RIOT. Don't need to say it anymore at this point. Yeah, Zillow off earnings, if I'm not mistaken. I was pretty lazy going to this week. I didn't really do my whiteboard earnings calendar. I have it from Benzinga Pro, so I have it up on my computer here. But I knew that Zillow was off earnings. The CLSN trade, for as much as it pumped up in pre-market, man, this thing died off. Another one, same thing. I mean, I don't know how much it was up percent-wise going into the open, but it was up a lot. So I would expect at least to pull back at first and a very short-lived pop-up after. All right, jump back to Tilray on the losers list, down 45% now. I thought it was down 40% last we checked with it. So I don't know if this just dropped off even more from last time we checked in with it, but. Right, 230 here tanked, pushed back up here for right now off 35. The ZYNE trade kind of interests me here. I don't know why. Just good price, good liquidity. It's not making the greatest move right now, but this is really good side list material for like tomorrow, for next week. I probably said that during the afternoon meeting at some point, probably yesterday. So, you know, I probably go back on that recording on YouTube, but nonetheless, this morning dropped off. It was shortable, so it made for a steady drop. Nice bounce from roughly around 560 there, 570-ish. Oh, alongside Tilray, I failed to remember here, you got the CGC stock here too, Canopy Growth. So this one normally is hard to borrow on TradeStation, shortable for right now. So pretty interesting. Making the same move as Tilray, MJ, all of those pot stocks and ETFs. Got FLDM here. And folks, now I'll toss it to you. If there's anything else up, down, left, right, 10% or more, just type it in the chat boards here. Let me know. Got no other familiar names here, at least. From RJF on YouTube, he's calling out that BRQS trade, just saying support off 250. Yeah, I would assume support off 250, although 260 is holding really nicely on the chart. Big iceberg off 250 there, right? I would assume. And even after that, if it breaks below that, just from the chart, kind of seems like, oh, actually, that might be 250, 245-ish. Yeah, it's 245. Like roughly under 250, maybe even like a 242-ish, 245, just from the chart. That seemed to have been holding consistently well. So there might be like a little like range of support there to work off of. From Gene, any thoughts on the ZOM stock? Just checking with that. Ooh, I got this like buzzing sound on my headset right now. Jeez. All right. Not much. Not much, unfortunately. It actually, I will say this. There's a thought. It kind of looks like an inverse head and shoulders. Tilt your head sideways, I swear. It kind of looks like, based on a trend here, a little inverse head and shoulders. A little shoulder, little head, inverse shoulder. So perhaps if it could break this trend line, little creativity there, Gene, I could see that being an interesting setup based on the chart pattern. But based on the liquidity and like the momentum, like it has a lot to cut through. So I was really hopeful in this trade from earlier this morning. I didn't want to tell you right away, no, it's not worth watching. So I'm like trying to find any good reason to like say it could be. And that honestly is a good reason. It's like, it looks like a really strong inverse head and shoulders should it break that like trend off the highs. But I think there's just so much volume on the book this needs to cut through. I don't know how much it would give you on the trade. And if I'm wrong and this runs, then we'll be there to catch it pretty early on inside the trading room, at least. From George, the OCGN. That was right. Oh, my goodness. The OCGN from today. So this was one that really just took off out of nowhere. I mean, I called this out pretty early on off the high from like, I think 10, once it popped up on my Benzinga radar. But I didn't trade it off at 10 myself. It just exploded. Ended up running up all the way up towards the high off 1350. There were some huge prints on the tape off of 12, like a 170,000 share print at 12, and it was filled on the bid. So I ended up taking a really small loss on the short, believe it or not. You would think, like, why short this as it's like running up? Well, you see what happened to it after, right? So, I was there at the right place just at the wrong time. But thank God, and this is the lesson learned here, I set my stop. So I ended up taking like a dinky 7-cent loss once this ended up breaking. Where is it here? Here's the print. I ended up jumping in here. I shorted right essentially off at 12. I waited for the pop, the drop, and then I got stopped out right here when it broke over 12. All right, that's fine. But then from there, exploded. Shoulda, coulda, woulda. I wish I reversed my position, went long, but either way, I ended up making my money on the short afterwards. Ended up getting my move. I ended up getting, I think, like 60 cents on the trade. So obviously left a fortune on the table. I didn't really trade it much after. So at this point, very tradable given the volatility. That's what I mentioned to George. I think that was to you, if not this morning. If it wasn't to you, George, I apologize. It's been a long week, then perhaps to another student. But, just based on the volatility on OCGN from earlier this week on Monday, you had to have expected this to be a good sideless stock. So, that's where I say just check in with this pretty much every morning just to see where it's at, how much it's up or down, the volume, the levels, if it's making like a potential setup. So this one kind of caught us off guard going into the mid-morning, but we were early to catch it at least, and still able to do good both ways, up or down. And given right now, at least, I don't mind slipping this on our main list. We don't really have a whole big list heading into the close. It's pretty good stock volatility-wise. All right, then the last one here, you got the HYLN, and then I think that's it. I'm going to check Benzinga Pro, actually, and then I'll say that's it. Yeah, can pushing up. That's already on our list for the meantime. But, yeah, this HYLN taking off out of nowhere right now, too, from 130 and just steady up. Has a long ways to go before it gets anywhere close to all-time highs. But check out the news on that. It looked pretty interesting from a zoomed-in perspective there on the chart. It's like, oh, it looks pretty strong, like it could be all-time highs. Let's see. Company says it introduces next-generation battery module to improve performance and efficiency. It's a nice-sounding headline. Has good liquidity, good spread for as big of a move as it made so far. So either way, I mean, we're definitely going to put this on our list. I'm surprised this is still making the move that it's making, though. Gus says it's an EV company. All right, so I guess I'll check in. I mean, it's, news specific to the company or company specific news. So I just want to check in with like a NEO, like an XBEV or something. Wow, NEO dumped off going into noontime. Jeez. Space getting too pricey, but pushing up nicely, says Leda. Yeah, that looks pretty good, up 14+%. And this is approaching all-time highs. And I might have a couple of bucks to go, but yeah, just about $2.80 pretty much. Nice trend. I mean, hey, for more of like the level 4 or 5 traders, definitely put this on our main list. 60, you got to assume to be a huge level. It broke out over 57 pretty sharply, 57, 57.50. From there, I mean, moving up like 2.5, 3 points higher up to 60 bucks. All right, I got one here, folks. The Mosey trade, MOSY. It's popping up on Benzinga Pro right now. Really sharp pop. I don't know if it's going to last, though. It's like one of those like crazy small pump and dump type plays, it seems like here. Yeah, for right now, I'm going to pass on this. And I'll tell you, I mean, either way, we don't need to have like 13, 14 stocks on our watch list to trade going into the close. I think we're pretty good anyway. Look at this can trade. Already on our list, popping up beautifully up towards 11 now, pretty much. All right, folks, last comment here I see on YouTube. Just going to read it really quick. I have a put for SNDL. It has to hit 190 by tomorrow. Do you think I have a chance? Eesh. That is a good question. I'll tell you, I'm a one-trick pony, Colin. That's on YouTube right there. I'm a day trader. I day trade equities, so I don't really have any interest with puts or calls myself. As far as a stock like SNDL, I'm just going to the trade really quick. Oh no! All right, there we go. Good. I don't know what the hell that was again. This SNDL, I think that this is going to move back up over time. I don't know what it'll do come tomorrow morning, but I would assume like right around like 175 to 2 to hold and squeeze back up. If not by the morning, then perhaps by the afternoon, and that's if it even drops down there. So right now it's at 256, has a ways to go. Reality Hedge on YouTube says king of the stock markets. I like to say the ace of trades. How about that? All right, folks, I think that just about does it here. We got 2, 4, 6, 7 stocks to go into the afternoon, and outside of those 7, we'll look to rescan the market heading into like 3:15, 3:30 Eastern time frame, taking us into the final 30 minutes. As always, I got to refill up the water bottle, stretch the legs. I'll be back on the mic, folks, for all of us live inside the trading room, coming up around like that 3:15-ish time. All right, for all of us on YouTube, really quickly, as always, like, subscribe, notify right on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/cybertradingu. Second to last reminder up until it. But we have our Traders Talk workshop coming up on YouTube. That'll be on Tuesday, the 16th. We have President's Day, Monday market close, so we are not broadcasting live on Monday, of course. So coming up on Tuesday, the 16th, and we tend to do this pretty much like 3 times the whole calendar year. We'll host our weekly Traders Talk workshop for free on YouTube. So I definitely would be interested if I were you in learning more about our day trading strategy. All right, for all of us inside the room, again, give me a quick moment. I'll jump back on the mic very shortly. Take care.